Welcome back to the studio, Becky.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
It's been a while.
It has been a little bit of time.
Little life has
Life has
happened
changed. Yeah,
between here and there. That's wonderful.
it is.
Well, for those that still remember us, thanks for joining us. Tonight we're having a Basil Hayden red wine cask finish. Cheers, Becky.
Cheers. Pros.
Oh, that's nice.
It is very nice.
All right.
I
So
appreciate it.
tonight we're going to have a little bit different conversation. What we want to talk about is developing our future leaders out of the millennial and Gen Z age groups. A lot of training out there. You and I have been through quite a bit on leading across generations.
Have you found any good training
Well,
in what you've went through?
some.
Yeah.
Yeah, like all things, it's hard to categorize an entire generation into a singular training or a singular thought. I will tell you that one, think companies have an interesting approach towards hiring and
Okay.
development. I don't know that it's always targeted in the right way. And I think there's some pretty stout differences between the younger generations and our upbringing and our approach towards leadership. So I definitely think this is a topic worth exploring for us today.
I think so.
And for our listeners, the takeaways are we will be working with cross generations for quite a while.
Yeah.
Until we retire, which looks like it's close, but it's not as close as one would think.
It is not.
So that's our topic today. If you'd like to join us, Basil Hayden, have a quick drink, and we'll talk
Grab a
through
drink. Yeah.
generations.
Yeah. So just a quick question for you in this. Statistically, how many young professionals do you think that you have mentored, coached,
Oh, geez.
assisted in their development through your career? 25 years in your profession, plus or minus, give or take. How many young professionals?
I don't know how to start that count.
A lot.
It's been a lot.
It's been a lot. Yeah.
A lot of Gen X.
Yeah.
Which we are.
Yep.
And that's, we came up through leadership. For sure, as a leader, I think I'm very engaged. I like to be out and about. I like to talk to people, be involved.
Yep.
So quite a few. I wouldn't know how to approach that number.
Yeah.
And yourself?
Same. Quite a few. I don't know how many. I couldn't count them, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
So through that, what are some challenges you faced?
Yeah. It's interesting, for sure, I think young professionals today are very different than young professionals were when I first started coaching them, 15 or 20 years ago. Which it's good and it's bad, right? I think there's a lot of energy. Young professionals coming in, they have I find a ton of ambition, which is different than I think what you hear. I think the messaging from corporations is often that young professionals, are lazy or want things handed to them or,
Would like to be the CEO tomorrow.
Would like to be the CEO tomorrow. That's a true statement. I think that's part of their ambition comes through. But I think companies have the perception that young professionals don't want to do the work to get to that level.
The end station.
Yes.
Or
they just discard it because they think they're too ambitious.
Interesting.
And that's been my perception. I think for the most part, I've found, at least today's young professionals, to be very ambitious. And harnessing that, I think, is the challenge.
I agree. You and I have a shared experience. Actually, I think you had a kind of a key role that you needed to backfill, and I recommended a very young and very new person on your team. You might recall. And
I recall.
Yes. And I think the general kind of reaction to that was, whoa, but he's so young and he's so new.
Yeah.
And from the outside, for me, watching him just seemed like an untapped talent. Like,
Right.
Oh my gosh, he's dedicated, he's ambitious. And it wasn't necessarily the ladder climb, it was to achieve. And what generation? You for sure probably late
Oh,
millennial.
yeah, definitely millennial.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um that's my
Hopefully that's okay that we're labeling generations. I know
well, I
some
think
people.
we have to
We have to.
and
Yeah.
actually we're doing it in my opinion, I think our intent is to do it in a positive way
Right.
so that we understand how to engage better
Yes.
and how to create our strategies to thrive
Mhm.
instead of survive.
Right.
We can fight or we can win.
We can win.
And I think one of the important things for us as a group, especially in today where being polar is what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to be their own group and fight and everything and it's just angry and I don't want to live in that space.
Me either.
What I'd rather do
I just got out of that space.
we've lived there for a long time and
Yep.
there is a better way.
There is a better way.
So, as we talk about millennials, Gen Zs, Gen Xs,
Hmm.
the first thing that's not regularly talked about is our shortcomings, meaning
For sure.
Gen X.
Yeah.
And the way that I look at it is we were the one of the first generations that didn't protest.
Yeah.
And I think it comes from, our parents were the hate and Ashbury
Yeah.
kind of hippie generation. Hell no, we won't go. They were kind of the group that stormed Capitol Hill
Yeah.
and, learned that our government wasn't always something you could trust and really started to fight back. And as the next generation, I think we were just like, just let us do our job and leave us alone.
Right.
And we're kind of the leave us alone generation.
We are like a
And
generation of middle children.
yes, that's a great way of putting it. We are
Yeah.
the middle child.
We are the middle child generation. I
And
can say that because I'm a middle child. So,
it's, well, I'm the youngest, but treated, I don't know, like the middle child, like a typical Gen Xer. So anyway, I think our relation to the world and a
hmm,
lot of the leaders and the people that have achieved
yep,
inside of the Gen X have kind of cut their own trail.
for sure.
It was based, baby boomers were late to hand over the baton.
Hmm.
Some are still hanging on.
Still handing it over.
And, Gen X didn't really voice for themselves. They just kind of put up, shut up, and got the job done.
Hmm.
And where I think speaking for both of us, we
Yes.
cultivated our leadership by rolling up our sleeves and just doing it, just grinding.
Just grinding is a good way to put it. And I think, we're generalizing in our conversation,
100%.
right? And I just want to make sure that people understand we're trying to create an overarching theme for how generations have functioned.
Not
Right?
everybody fits
Not
in
everybody
this
fits
shoe.
into it. There are definitely, people who stand out in different ways. But overarching, the generation of professionals that are in our category, I agree with you. We we just kind of grinded is a good way to put it for a long, long time.
And our parents thought that the end all to beat all was
Yeah.
getting a 45-year
Yep.
job, getting your gold watch,
Hmm.
retiring from a company, working for some place that had good benefits.
Yeah. Which I think is interesting because they were our parents' generation, they were worked till they're 65 or 70. I don't think our generation, Gen X, is going to be in that category.
Mm-mm.
I think a lot of people in our generation are trying to get to the point where early retirement is reasonable.
I
You know,
agree. I think there's a different level of financial
there
planning.
is.
I think there's a different level of being able to earn
Yep.
401ks, being able to plan for retirement,
Hmm.
starting early,
Yep.
and people are exercising that a little bit better.
Because we've spent our entire careers like really grinding it out, I don't see us getting to a space where we just can't make it happen because our mental clarity is not there. We're not as sharp. That happens with age. I don't think our generation is going to get to a retirement stage of just phoning it in. That's my perspective.
That's
What do you think
interesting.
about that?
I haven't really reflected on that too much. I think that's an interesting way of thinking about it. I do think there is a value change
Hmm.
over generations. Baby boomers looked, it was not uncommon to work at one place for 40 years.
Right.
You and I started at an organization. Everybody in my hallway was 38, 40 years of
Yeah.
seniority
Yep.
when I started there. Our generation, I think, is mixed.
Yes.
I think that still exists.
Hmm.
Um, for sure,
But
it might
duration is definitely longer in our generation.
agree
10 years,
is pretty
15
common.
years is pretty common.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I do think that's on the change. And I don't think organizations are taking the right approach at large.
In what way? Like,
Well,
let's talk about that for a little bit. Because I think you and I are on the same page on this, but
100%.
but I think
And
it's an
if you
important thing
read,
to talk about.
for LinkedIn and if you're on social media and you're reading about career development, I think the current advice is don't spend more than 5 years in one place.
Correct.
And the reason is you can grow your salary, as we talked about with the younger generations, upward mobility and getting,
Hmm.
and it's not even upward mobility, in my opinion. I'm going to tell you what I've heard a lot is, well, now that I'm trained, shouldn't I make as much as everybody else?
Correct.
The guy that's been here for 15 years is doing the same job I'm doing. I should be making what he makes.
Correct.
So definitely there's a different value placement. I'm here, I'm trained versus I'm here and I've been here for a long time. I've earned my station.
Correct.
And I'm
Well,
not picking a side.
no, I think wages historically in our generation had been set on tenure,
Correct.
time in role. I think a lot of companies did it that way. I don't think that is a
Viable future.
viable future because, to your point, if they're trained and they're functioning at the same level, why is there a disparity in pay? That's the rationale of someone in a millennial category.
Right.
And I don't
I don't want to
disagree
work
with
here
them.
for 40 years to
Right.
make
Yeah.
what everybody around me is making
Yeah.
because
Because I
I
can
don't
go to
necessarily
company X and
and make more.
and make more. Yep.
And you know, having good benefits as a boomer was a real thing. Not
It
everybody
was.
had good benefits. It was definitely a large disparity.
Mhm.
Most organizations are using the same providers. It's the same benefit package almost everywhere now.
Yep.
Might be a little bit
Very
different
similar.
vacation accrual,
Hmm.
might be a little bit different approach to medical benefits, a little bit,
Yeah.
but it is small and nuanced.
Hmm.
Almost everybody has a 401k.
Yep.
Of course, if you work for a very small organization or a 3-person startup, or all bets are off. But if you're working for any of the major organizations, you can expect about the same thing. So that's really a non-factor anymore. That's
Yep.
just a given. So the variables have changed. For the baby boomers, I totally respect. They wanted to get to a place that had good benefits, which was sometimes more important than your take-home wage.
And they often times had pension.
Oh, that yes,
And so, a lot of companies have went away from pension, almost all. It's very rare to see a company have a pension these days.
so, as we reflect on an organizational structure, I'm prior military from a
Mhm.
long time ago, and I have to. What I've always tried to encourage my organizations is move to not a military model, not making soldiers,
Mhm.
but if you think about what the military has thrived at for generations, is taking a bunch of 18-year-olds who couldn't find a better job, teaching them how to work on very sophisticated things, work very beneficially,
Mhm.
and be replaceable in 4 years.
So, does that happen in your organization? Do you feel like team members are in a constant development stage or state?
I think there's always room for improvement.
For sure. I'm not sure organizations look at it from that perspective.
I'm going to disagree,
I
but
think
I'm going to
that
agree all at the same time. This is going to be trickier. You ready?
yeah.
I think the illness of organizations today is that cartoony digital content that they think
Mhm.
people can do
Yeah, that's not
and then be a better employee.
right.
And I think that is an illness as a nation, maybe a world, is
Mhm.
if I put somebody on a computer for an hour and a half and have them watch videos and click to the quiz and take a 10 question.
That gets it
I
done.
hope everybody understands what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But that is mind numbing. And I don't know that that ever.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot of a gang of HR professionals that
Yeah.
would tell us
You
Oh,
just upset a
I
very
know I
big
did.
world
I don't
of
think we've
training
posted our
professionals.
address on here. I don't think they can hunt me down. But I do think that is an
There
illness today in what we think is training and development.
I agree with you. I think the real crux is if that's the only training and development. I think that holds a valuable part in the training and development process, but you have to also get to putting it to work. And
Correct.
how do you assess putting training to work?
I think it's good for compliance and regulatory type training.
I think it's also good for just general trainings in positions. You and I were talking about this before, and I recently just started my own company, and part of what I'm doing in that space is training. And what I find is so many companies are saying the same thing. We don't have stuff written down. It's all tribal
Tribal
knowledge
knowledge.
and handing it from one person to the next person. And that's a problem. Like, that's a challenge where I think this, like, computer based training can be valuable is what portion of the training process can we like share through information that somebody does sit at a computer and does look at, and then takes that and applies it to their work while they're guided by someone, a mentor or a trainer or someone in the organization. I think having multiple modes does make a big difference. It also helps a company get information out of the tribal space and into a more formalized picture.
I would agree.
Yeah,
However, I also think there has to be a balance of trial and error.
for sure.
I think one of the places where organizations are too tight
Mm.
is letting young leaders explore and make mistakes.
Yes.
To your point, where
We've talked about
you
this
you talked
before.
about tribal
Yeah.
knowledge. Where does tribal knowledge come from?
School of Hard Knocks, man.
Of trying it and being
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
And I do think in today's
Trial and error.
helicopter parent sort of
Mhm.
place, and Gen X is the original helicopter parent.
Oh, man. For sure.
And I
Yep.
think a lot of leadership happens that way. I think a lot of talented people are passed over for promotion for this saying.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're quite ready yet. I think part of the model
Mhm.
is promoting talent and letting talent then also develop within reason.
Yeah.
And some of that I think is on the job, live, school of hard knocks. Not all of it,
No, but for
but
sure,
controlled, what
we we have to give people the space to fail. I think I 100% agree with you. This is a space where organizations and leaders feel the pressure to succeed at all costs. And they have a hard time coaching people who try something and fail.
yeah. So let me ask you this. With millennials and or Gen Z, what's the hardest thing for you in leading or developing future leaders out of that generation?
Keeping them fed.
Oh, really?
Hmm.
Giving them enough work to stay mentally challenged and
Hmm.
growing.
Yes. I think that we are grossly underestimating the ability of our millennial generation to transform the way in which we do work.
Mm.
We're asking them to continue.
But they all want this work-life balance.
No, that's it's really a fallacy. Work-life balance is really a fallacy. That's not really what they're asking for.
What are they asking for?
They're asking for the ability to enjoy life.
Mm.
They don't want to,
Since when is that a option?
right? They want to
That's
work.
not in our benefits package.
They want to work to live, not work to save or work to enjoy later. They want to work to live.
I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson. I
Mhm.
think I'll have to fact check this. I'll go back and look, but I'm pretty sure what he said is work is the sacrifice you give to live the rest of your life the way you want to.
Mm.
And I think it took a couple of generations to hear that.
To hear it. Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about keeping them fed
Okay.
because it has to be done in the right way. And I'm just going to talk for a second about another team member that I had. They were very energetic in that millennial category, coming into a new position as a leader and very intelligent. They I had this person in seat for probably 90 days. And while they were in that seat, had a bunch of really excellent ideas and new things. And what they tried to do was start them all at once.
Mm,
And I think one of the biggest things that we can do from our seats as leaders is help guide the focus of that energy to get things done.
across the finish line.
Yeah. I think they're very energetic. They're very ambitious. And again, back to that, like, I want to be CEO in 5 years mentality, they're going after it and they're going to work hard for it. But we have to be able to focus that energy into something that's productive for the company to get better.
I think that dovetails into my hardest experience with the younger generations.
Yeah.
And if you're out there and you're a younger generation, I'm going to issue a trigger warning. That's a new thing. I think but for me, it's anytime I've uttered these words,
Mm,
any iteration of, can I offer you some advice,
mm,
is an instant, like turning the light switch off.
yeah.
I'm going to disengage.
Yeah.
And going with that theme, here's my advice to the
Why
younger generation.
why is that a
I
light
don't
switch?
know, but it's the fastest. Because when I see talent, man, I wanna move talent.
Yeah.
You've worked with me for a long time?
I'm the same way.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what I try to do is just, "Hey, let me help you." It, like, turns me into the enemy. For those out there listening, if I haven't got you to hang up yet,
Mhm.
how I've developed as a leader and getting into executive leadership, I have a list that I've
Yeah.
kept my entire career, and when I meet an engaging leader and somebody that is, even if they have traits that I don't like,
Mhm.
if they have areas of inspiration, I've always just taken notes. What about this? Mark
Mhm.
Trainin, you
Yeah.
worked for him, a great guy, had his weaknesses, but when you spoke, he
As we
listened.
all do.
He just listened.
Yeah.
He would take the time to listen and then respond to what you said.
Mhm.
I have that in notes somewhere.
Yeah.
First time I met him, I was brand new to the organization, and he quieted everybody and said, "No, Robbie, I think was onto something, and I want to hear what he had to say."
Yeah.
Blew me away.
Yeah.
If you're out there and you're listening to us and you want to develop quickly,
Mhm.
write down the things that impress you
Yep.
from leadership and be open to advice. When
Mhm.
somebody gives you advice, and let me tell you how GenX gives advice. It's a directional thing. You don't have
Mm.
to do it exactly.
Right.
It's not a do this or die. It's a directional. Have you thought about?
Right.
And it's like bumpers on a bowling alley, right? We're not trying to get you to roll a strike every time, just
Mhm.
trying to keep you out of the gutter.
Yes.
And I think, to your question, why is it such a turnoff? Is I think it's perceived as, we want you to do it our way so that you roll a strike every time.
Yeah.
And we might not understand you're not trying to get a strike.
And I think if we peel that back just a little bit further, and I know you well enough to know that this isn't true, but for everybody who's listening, this is a great example. I think what happens in the minds of the millennial is they don't want to hear what I have to say.
Ah,
And I think what's happening in that space is we're not creating the space to listen. To your point about Mark, great for him in, you know, quieting all the voices in the room so that your voice could be heard. I think we have to do that for the millennial generation. And I'm going to go back to my employee that I was talking about. And 90 days in the role. And I put him into a conference room and on the whiteboard made him write down everything that his team was had in process. And it took an hour and a half.
if it's more than six things,
It took an
nothing's
hour
going to
and a
get
half.
done.
And, I kind of let him go for a while because I wanted to be able to make that an impactful moment
Yeah.
where there's so much energy and every single idea, everything that was on the board was a great idea. And I would absolutely have loved to be able to resource every single one of those things. but we can't. And so you have to pick and you have
Yeah,
to
you have
choose
to
and you have to
prioritize.
prioritize.
Correct.
But I think first we have to let them try. We have to listen and be an available ear. And then, to your point, put the bumpers in. And how do we help them focus on what's most important, what's most impactful for the organization, and what's most beneficial for them in their journey and their career?
And if you've hung with us this long and you're in that millennial and Gen Z category, here's what I want. Here's your takeaway. I'm going to ask you, Becky, and this is an unplanned question.
Oof.
What's more important to organizations, starting 50 things or finishing 2?
Finishing two.
I'll take somebody that can get things across the finish line at a
Mhm.
high quality
Yep.
more than I'll take somebody that has 10 million ideas.
Correct.
I need things across the finish line and done and implemented and rolling. And actually, when I look at talent, and the person we talked about early that I identified for your team
Mm-hmm.
was a closer,
Mm-hmm.
worked super hard, got things done.
Got them done.
And that, so if you're out there and you want to develop and you want to be recognized and you want to promote quick, work on how to prioritize.
Mm-hmm.
Ask for that help. How do I prioritize? You don't have to guess what your organization wants first.
Yep.
Go seek that counsel
Mm-hmm.
and then work to get it done. The best leaders, in my opinion, are the ones that give their teams just enough installation to not get taken way off task on 50 things,
Yep.
but can get 2 or 3. I mean, if environment changes, it changes, but getting things across the finish line is a rare and very lucrative place to be.
It is rare, but if you can do it, it means that you were able to advocate for the resources needed. You are able to navigate the waters to be able to plan it out and get it done. And those are things that will benefit you no matter what you do.
Greatly. So wrap us up with final thoughts.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun. Thanks for getting us back in the studio. I really
Yeah,
appreciate
cheers.
it. Cheers.
For those having a drink
Yeah.
with us, cheers.
Cheers. It's been wonderful to come back. And I think this is a topic that has a lot of legs and we could spend a lot of time. My one my For any of the millennials who are listening, my my one guidance and advice for them is find a mentor that is outside of your circle
In your
and
comfort zone.
your
Somebody
comfort
that gives
zone
you advice that is uncomfortable.
and listen to the advice. Doesn't mean it's the right advice, but digest it
Yeah.
and really spend some time getting to know what does it take for me to be successful.
Takeaways for me, if you're out there and still listening, understand we perceive your value.
Mm-hmm.
We want to help. We being the Gen X and the
Yep.
leaders of today, the reality is, as somebody that answers directly to a board of directors, what I get asked about as regularly as everything else is my succession plan.
Mm-hmm.
Who are we developing? Who are we cultivating? Who's next
Yes.
when we retire?
It's an
You mentioned
important piece.
early retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're going to hang on like the boomers did. I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Gen Xers are out there trying to get the next generations ready.
Yep.
For those that want to be available, there are folks out there that are willing to help. Feel free to comment in the comment section if you like this or dislike this. If you've got argument points, for sure. We're not saying we're right. We're just giving you our view from our experience.
Yeah.
For those that have hung on this long, thanks for joining us. Always a pleasure. Hope you had a drink with us. And until next time,
We'll see you soon.
see you soon.